No, absolutely not. I think every law that Congress passes should apply to everybody else. They exempted themselves when they passed the Americans with Disabilities Act. They exempted themselves many years ago from sexual harassment laws. I mean, it's crazy. I believe that Congress should set a big example and live under the same rules and regulations everybody else does. For that reason, one of the bills that I intend to introduce, actually I want to tell you about two of them. One is called the Pay for Performance Act. Now, I think the likelihood that we're going to get a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, which I support, and I'll co-sponsor, I'll do everything I can to get a balanced budget. But do you really think that the Senate is going to get 2/3 votes? Because a constitutional amendment takes 2/3 in the House, 2/3 in the Senate, and 38 states to ratify. I think we have to put forward a bold idea, statutorily as well, that will put people's feet to the fire, that will, I think, catch on with the grassroots across America in such a way that people will ask their candidates as they run, are you going to support the Pay for Performance Act? Simply put, it's this. My idea in the Pay for Performance Act is every year that Congress fails to pass a balanced budget, every year, they and their office and their staff will take a 20% cut in pay. In 5 years, they'll be working for nothing. I believe that that will put a lot of pressure on members of Congress. Number one, I think that the American people will say, look, are you serious about balancing the budget or are you not? And so that's one idea. The other one, how many of you followed that there's a lot of insider trading going on in Congress? There's a book called Throw Them All Out, which I think is a great book. But I think we need a lot stronger bill than was just passed in the Stock Act. I think we need a bill that says, if you are elected to Congress, you cannot trade stock. You cannot. There are too many opportunities for conflicts of interest. And I believe that it's so important and so fragile. This ought to be about community service, that you put that on hold. While you're in Congress, you don't trade stock. You avoid the very appearance of bad behavior. And so that's one of the things I want to push too. Finally, I believe that we also need to pass what I call the REINS Act. It's not my bill, but it was a bill that was offered about 6 months ago that says this, because I think that a lot of the problems with regulation are you pass a law and then the government entity that is responsible for that goes far beyond where they should have, where Congress wanted them to be. So the REINS Act says after a law is passed, that once it goes to the agency and they promulgate rules, those rules have to come back to Congress for a vote again to say, yeah, we agree. That's what we meant. And I believe that's a good check and balance. But I believe Congress should be under the same pension everybody else should be, is under, which is pretty much a 401k. I don't like the defined benefit. But that means we have to change it for the whole federal government. And I think that's a good step in the right direction. I think we should be given the same kind of health care benefits that everybody else, like you do with small businesses. I think we should lead by example. And one of the other things that I think we should do, nobody else is really talking about this, but I believe that with the austerity we're in right now, we're asking everybody to kind of feel the pain. I'm going to lead the charge and ask that we pass legislation that members of Congress will take a 15% cut in pay immediately, just to set the example. And I think that's a good example to be set. Everybody's had to tighten their belts across America, and I think that would be a good place for us to start.